Right, and hello, and for this video what we're going to be doing is we've had some old toys generally sort of given to us to have a look at restoring and renewing back to their former glory, and these ones are in quite sorry state, so there is a warning advised. So what we're going to do is, in this box of tricks I have slightly off camera here, are the action figures in general, and the first one that we're going to look at restoring is this. I believe it's a 1993 Captain Black from the Captain Scarlet series, and he is quite battered and worn. As you can see, he's been very loved and very well played with, probably in some water, hence all the mould, dirt on his face. We have some paint wear on him, which we could soon sort out. And on his hands he's quite generally dirty and filthy, and he needs some new clothes sourcing out and fixing as well. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to get him out of these clothes, see exactly the state of them, and start off by generally giving him a good clean. That is, if we can figure out how to undress the little blighter. Right, and I will quickly do a jump cut, and we will get back to this, and I will show you when we actually have all his clothes off. Weird. Right, and just like that we're back. It took me a bit of time to take these boots off, because they're actually solid cast plastic and there's no sort of movement in these legs, they're just solid rubber. Right, but upon removing the clothes, which is easy enough, like I've discovered that Captain Black is in quite a sorrier state than once thought. I mean, his head is literally on, well, it's gonna fall off, so we'll have to repair that quite. That's going to be the biggest job on this. I have to get rid of most of the mould marks on him, and there doesn't seem to be any way to open him up. Right, so I think the best way to deal with this is, after a bit of research on the internet, to remove mould we actually need some neat bleach. So I've got my neat bleach in a tub here, and I've also got some kitchen towel. And right, generally see how we get on. First off, just get a bit of bleach on the toothbrush. We're going to make sure we move all of Captain Black's original clothes out of the way, because we don't want to disrupt that. And first of all, we're just going to try a little bit on the arm to see if we can remove this, and generally give him a clean. And as you can see, that's actually coming off quite easily. Well, I didn't expect that to be that easy, but who knew? A bit of neat bleach does the trick, obviously. Well, there you go, people. Any sort of mouldy toys that you've got lying around that you want to restore, bit of toothbrush, bit of neat bleach. Be careful not to get any on your skin. Now, this is actually neat bleach. I haven't watered it down or anything. I suppose if I was using neat bleach to fix I don't know, an antique toy. I mean, 1993 is old, but it's not as old as, like, I don't know, some of the Transformers you can get now. Right, so now this is going easier than what I thought it was. I'm going to finish cleaning off Captain Black, and then we're going to get to stupid camera. I'm going to finish cleaning off Captain Black, and then after I finish that off, I will come back to you, and we will carry on. Right, jump cut. Right, so as you can see, just with a bit of neat bleach and a toothbrush and just a bit of time and patience, I mean, the mould itself has come off lovely. I do advise using a toothbrush like you've just seen me use, because to get the mould out of the finer details like the hands and the ears, it's very, very useful. Right, so I'm just going to put all of this out of the way for now. And we're going to have a look at the other problem that persists. Now, the only issue we've got is this head. Now looking at it, it's hanging on by a thread. I don't know if you can see it there, but there's literally nothing left of that. That's just hanging in there, like hanging in there for dear life. So what I'm gonna have to do is to remove this head, I think, try and take out this segment here, and then with some epoxy resin I'm going to create attempt to create a new pivot to put in that joint itself, and if that works, then fair play, and yeah, we'll see what goes from there. But for what I'm going to need for this, I'm not sure if I've got downstairs, if you want the truth. So I'm going to try and use some brute force for now, which is going to consist of a pair of scissors and a pair of tweezers, and see what we can do, because it is vital I get this bit out here, because I don't know what I'm going to do if I can't. So let's just see if I can so wiggle that section out. I've nearly got it right. So with the scissors, well, you can just see I pinned that with my fingers, pinched it, and attempted to pop it out. On Captain Black, go on you bastard. Nice. Right, that was actually quite clean to do that. As you see, it's just hard plastic cast body. Right, so here's the issue at hand then. So I've got this little tiny nub, solid head, and that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Right, this is a tricky part. So what I'm going to attempt to do now is, and I do this bit in two different stages, I'm going to remove this little pivot pin here. After that's been removed, I'm going to take my trusty pot of generic stuff, which nobody needs to know what it is because I might get done for copyright. Then after that, I'm going to attempt to get my 2-part epoxy resin and cast a mould. So after that, it's going to have to set for half an hour, but probably right, so it's going to have to set for about half an hour, but I'll probably leave it 45 minutes before I come back to it. And that being the case, I'll just try and carefully snip that bit away, which weren't so bad really, was it? That was quite easily done. And that leaves us with a squidgeable hollow Captain Blackhead, which we have to sort out later on. I'll probably do that when I'm waiting for the mould to set. So I'll just stick him on the plinth, because that'll just make him easier to paint. Stick him over there. Right, so this is going to be the magic part. Right, I've done this a couple of times. I've never actually done it to fix or repair a model, a toy. But generally, what I've done before is cast, I'd say, well, just weapons like your odd transformer. See if we can get it out now without and just generally just poke that in, because I want to give it a bit, actually a bit of a neck, you know what I mean? I need to make that a bit thick around the actual I actually want the actual mould bit to be a bit thick around the neck, the squidgy bit in his head, so that way the actual plastic's got something to grip onto. Right, now the famous 2-part epoxy resin. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, can actually be quite a tricky devil to work with. I actually only used it a couple of times, and mainly I've used it for casting weapons and whatnot for different models and toys. I find that it's alright to work with. It's not horrible or anything, but I'm gonna mix it up nice and regal like, and just then tip it slowly into the mould. Right, now there's no need to be very, you know, you don't have to be right careful with it, or well, I suppose you do have to be careful with it, but don't go, you know, full hog on it or anything like that. Just sip it in a bit of a time, make sure it's generally got enough in it, because you want the liquid to spread all in this mould. So we're just going to give it a bit of a stir to make sure it's got in all the nooks and crannies, because we actually really want that. Now another thing you got to do, because obviously you're tipping it in here, you know, and this stuff, alright, depending where you get it from, can be quite expensive, and it sets super duper quick, so you got to be careful. I think you get something soft like a mixing time of seconds, 4 or 5 seconds, you know, to actually do what you want to do before it starts setting. That's the type of thing you're working with there, and it can be a bit of a pig. So literally that's it. So get your mould, get your putty, whatever you're going to use, get your party that you want, press it in there, get some epoxy resin, 2-part epoxy resin. This I just bought from a shop where it was at £1, because I was only experimenting at the time. And then just get that, put it to one side and leave it for half an hour. Boom, job's a good one. Right, now I'm just going to quickly clean up my scissors, because I don't want them to get damaged or wrecked, because when that 2-part epoxy resin sets, it can be a bit of a pig. And then just generally clean this top up here and make sure I don't get any of this crap on my wife's table, because she will go absolutely ballistic and try and murk me off. Right, so that is all that done. Now, since that was only £1, I don't mind about wasting it, but you can see, you know, I wasted a fair bit of that, really, to be fair, didn't I? So that can be chucked over there for now. Right, that's over there. Now, Captain Black himself. Right, let's have a look at him. Really, all that's wrong with this actual toy itself is he needs a lick of paint, really, on some sort of parts of his hair. Now, you could actually leave it if you want to, but as you can see, he's actually got some parts of that beard sort of missing. So I'm going to have a look into that. I might restore that at some other time, because even though you can see it is quite faded, that might be due to the water damage and stuff that had when he come in, and there is some issue with his clothes. But for now, I think I'm just going to try and touch that up with just a bit of a SL100 industrial paint marker, generic black. Right, and these things, they're easy enough to use, just like pens, really. Just got to make sure that the paint goes through the nib, so you just keep pressing and applying pressure until some sort of paint comes out, like so. And it's quite nice, sort of black matte finish. And so yeah, so where, so you can see that it's quite you can't actually tell that, well, you can tell there's a bit on there, but it's taken to 2 out of place for what I'm trying to say. I'm just going to put it everywhere that it looks like he needs touching up. Just try and bring him back to life. Good old Captain Black. He got the raw deal in the Captain Scarlet, didn't he, really? Such a misunderstood fella. Right then. Now that that's that, I'm going to put Captain Black to one side. Research bits and pieces for it's a couple of parts, because the next part is, well, I'm going to come back to this in 3/4 an hour to half an hour and see and attach the mould that we did earlier on for his neck peg. Right, so I'll catch you guys in a sec. Alright. Right, so if you haven't guessed, a lot of time's actually quite passed since I did the actual neck moulding piece, after finding out that the 2-part epoxy resin to make the head pivot itself takes a ridiculously long time to set. On the packet it does say you mix it and within half an hour it's supposed to go absolutely solid, but in fact it doesn't, and I have to leave it a fair few days to get to this standard. So what I did actually do off camera is I touched up Captain Black's eyebrows with the paint marker and some more of the head to get where we need to be. Right, so after you saw earlier on, we used a two-part epoxy resin and cast a little neck pivot. I did have to get a little homemade sort of semi-made file and file it down. Admittedly, this one was given to me by Fix-It Ken, who's built quite a few things for me, and admittedly it wasn't built for the purpose of what I've just used it for, so cheers Ken. Right, so you get the little neck pivot and we're actually going to attach this into the body, which should be quite easy, but I'm going to guess it's going to not be easy because that's the name of the game. Because what I failed to realise is once it's in there, there's no actual stopper. Right, so and there we go. Right, so that is Captain Black. Let me just pivot the camera up, and there you can see, yeah, Captain Black's head is now fully on with the actual two-part resin. Now the head is fully movable, as you can see, and that ain't going nowhere, even though it is still slightly loose. I think a bit more TLC is needed on that, but just for a standalone point of view, you'll have to make the mould of the neck pin a tiny bit fatter, but as you can see, it does work. Yeah, just I reckon if I just remove that tiny bit of plastic there, everything will be absolutely fantastic. Right, and as you've just seen as you've just seen the neck pivot actually works, what I'm going to move on to in the next part of this actual video of restoring Captain Black part 2, I'm actually going to be fixing Captain Black's uniform with just some odd little repair jobs of the stitching of the lining, removing the actual elastic sort of leg pivots there, repairing the stitching and building him a new waistcoat. And that's it. Thank you for I hope you have enjoyed the restoration of Captain Black so far. Please like, share and subscribe, and stick around for part 2 of the actual video. And there will be other videos dropping shortly of restoring Captain Scarlet, who isn't in such a bad shape here as Captain Black, but is in a fairly nasty state. So yeah, please join us for part 2 that will be uploaded within the next few weeks, and please like, share and subscribe. Everyone have a great day. Ta-ra.